So we'll start the next type of problems which Turing machine can handle. So this is a variable language. Now why do I say it is a variable language? Because here we have W which can take up any value A or B. Again there is C which is a compulsory symbol in between, and then we have WR, that is reverse of the string which occurred prior to C. Again this W can take up any value between A and B. So why is it variable? Because we do not know where the string starts from. It can start from A or it can start from B, whereas prior to this in all the problems we knew where the string starts and how the string should be made. Now here so basically this is a variable language where we have the first part, say part 1, then we have a compulsory symbol C, or which is basically the separator between the first and the second part in the string. And what is C here? C is the separator, and what is part 2? This is the reverse of part 1 string. So let us say an example string here. So if my string is AAB, which is the first part, C is the separator, and then I have to write this string in reverse. So what will be the reverse? BAA. So this is BAA here. So this is one example. Say if my string was BAA, a separator C, then reverse of this will be AAB. And this is example of a valid string of this language. So the replacement symbol that we will be using to solve this numerical is blank. That is, whenever we encounter A or whenever we have to change the symbol on the Turing tape, we will replace that by blank. So this is the logic which we will be using. So if now the string can either start with A or it can start with B. So if it starts with A, it will end with A, and if we start with B, it will end with B. So it is true, as we have seen in the example, if we start with A, it will end with A. If we start with B, it will end with B. So we will see the algorithm or the logic which we will be using to solve this numerical. Okay, so this is the logic which says that if the starting symbol is A, we have to replace that by blank. As I have already told, we will use blank as the replacement symbol. Change the state to Q1 and move forward in the right direction until we find blank. That is, we are going till the end of the string now. Now when blank is found, change the state to Q2 and move back in the left direction. Now the only permitted transition which Q2 can have is symbol A. Why? Because we started with A and we need to find the end symbol as A. So replace this A with a blank, change the state to Q3 and move in the left direction until you find the blank. So this is the blank which will lead us back to first A symbol which we had replaced with blank. And finally, once the symbol blank is found, we'll change the state to Q0 and move in the right direction. So this will be a loop created. I'll quickly explain this algorithm through a string example. So this is our example string here. What is the string? AAB, a separator, and then reverse, which is BAA. So if we start with A, we'll end with A. So what is the starting point? If Q0 receives a, replace this with a blank, move forward by changing the state Q1. And now what we'll do is we'll simply move in the right direction until we find the end of this string. So we have to do the skip operation for A, B or A. Any symbol you encounter, just skip it until Q1 receives a blank. As soon as Q1 receives a blank, we have to change the state to Q2 and move in the left direction. Now what do we have to check? We have to check whether this starting was A, whether the end is also A. So Q2 can receive only one symbol, which is A. Why? Because Q0 was tested for A here. So if Q2 receives a, we'll simply change this A to blank, change the state to Q3 and move in the backward direction. So we'll skip all these symbols and move in the backward direction until this blank is found. So up till now what we have done is the first symbol A is compared with the last symbol A, and since this is a match, it is accepted. And after this Q3 gets a blank, you go to the next symbol here and Q0. Again this A and this A should be same. So we have already written these transactions, so this will be creating a loop. We'll have to write some additional transitions and then the terminating condition. So first I'll write down the set of transitions up till this point where we are considering the starting of the string is with alphabet A. So these are the set of transitions that will be generated for the point till we have discussed. So if Q0 gets a, move forward, make it blank, right direction, skip all the symbols A, B and C, move in the right direction. Only if Q1 receives a blank, make it Q2, replace that by blank remains blank and move in the left direction. Q2 can only receive A, make that blank, move ahead in the left direction. Again if Q3 receives A, B or C, whatever it receives in its journey backward, all has to be skipped. And now if Q3 receives a blank, change it the state to Q0. So that I'll have to write. So after this, if Q3 receives a blank, so we'll simply change the state to Q0 because we are trying to create a loop here. So this is Q0. Blank remains blank and we now continue in the right direction. So this is what will happen if the string starts with A and we continue with the loop here. Now we'll try to write the transitions. What happens if the string starts with B? So next we'll write that. Okay, I'll make a small modification in the string that we had considered. We'll make this as ABB. So here it becomes BBA. So this will be easy for me to show you what happens if the string starts with B. Now after processing string till this point, this has become blank, this has become blank and Q0 stands on B. So we'll see how can we handle Q0 on B. So it is as good as my string is now starting with B. Even if you take the string which starts from B as we considered here, that is BAA, so the solution will work for that as well. So after processing the string, we are now at this point where we had replaced the A's by blanks. So now Q0 was standing here. So again we'll have to repeat the same logic. What happens if Q0 receives a B? We will simply change it to blank, change the state here, but we have used the state numbers till Q3, so we'll use the new state number, that is Q4 here. Skip all the symbols until you find the first blank here. As soon as Q4 receives the blank symbol, go back, change the state to Q5. Q5 should only receive B. Why? Because we are now checking whether B here is same as B here. So start and end should now be the same. If Q5 receives a B which says that yes, the starting here is the end here, change it to blank and continue the backward journey by making it Q6. Skip all the symbols until you receive a blank symbol here. As soon as the blank is received, move forward and make this as Q0, and we have already written what happens if Q0 receives a B. So whatever logic is discussed here, I'll show you the transitions for that. So if Q0 receives a B, change the state to Q4, make it blank, move in the right direction, that is forward direction. Now if Q4 receives whatever symbol A, B or C, you simply have to skip that and move ahead until Q4 receives a blank. As soon as it receives a blank, move in the left direction, state change to Q5. Q5 should only receive B, so change it to blank, change the state, move in the left direction. Q6 will skip all the symbols until it finds blank. So Q6, A, B, C, all the symbols will be skipped and movement is in the left direction here for these three cases. As soon as Q6 receives a blank, we make it Q0 here, blank remains blank and we move in the right direction. So again, if Q0 receives B here, this will be changed to blank, state change, go back, this B will again get changed to blank, and where will we land? We will land up here by changing this to Q5. So we now have to think what happens if we receive a C here. So basically if Q5 receives a C, we do not know whether the symbols are ending here. We will, just to avoid any confusion, I have rewritten till the point we had reached. So now this was Q0. If Q0 receives a B, we know we have to make it blank and make the state to Q4. Q4 will skip whatever it gets until Q4 receives a blank. As soon as Q4 receives a blank, it will change state, go back here and make this as Q5. So this transitions we have already written. Now since this becomes Q5 has to receive B because we have to check these two symbols whether they are same. So this will be changed to blank and Q6 goes here. What does Q6 do? It simply skips all these symbols until it receives a blank. So Q6 will reach to this blank point here by skipping this C symbol, which is the separator. As soon as Q6 receives a blank, what we did, we changed the state here and we will reach Q0 here. Now everything here is changed to blank, everything here is changed to blank, and we now have to think what happens if Q0 receives a C. So basically this should now be our terminating condition and probably we do not require any additional transitions here. So what should be the terminating condition? So terminating condition here would be if Q0 receives a C symbol, we'll change the state to Q7, C remains C and B move forward. And if this Q7 gets a blank, then we say that we are landing in the halt final state and the Turing machine would halt. I'll just quickly tell you how this happens. So if Q0 receives C here, we will change the state and we make this as Q7, and if Q7 receives a blank, we say that the string here and here are correct. Why? Because we have already replaced them with blanks. Now if any symbol was left out here, then Q7 will receive that symbol which is incorrect, and this should not be accepted. So this is correct, that Q7 should receive a blank. Now what happens if the starting string contains only C? So if my string was only C and blank, for example, so what happens? Q0 receives a C. Now why is this acceptable? Because as in the question it was said that A, B star. So the minimum string which we can accept here is only C should also be accepted. This and this can be, since this is a star, this can be missing. So only C should also be accepted. Let's see if it is accepting. So if Q0 receives a C symbol here, C remains C, we change the state to Q7. If Q7 gets a blank, then it should be accepting. So this is correct. So this is the complete answer, where you will have to specify what happens if the string starts with A. Next, what happens if string starts with B, and then write the terminating condition. If you wish, you can also draw the diagram for this Turing machine, but writing the tuple representation is compulsory.